Hey guys, this is Chauncey from Good Music to Know. We're doing story sessions, and today we have Matt with us from Indigo Waves. Super excited to talk about their new album coming out, also the singles that they have. So thanks so much for joining, Matt.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Also, I think congrats are in order. If I'm not mistaken, are you and Austin new fathers, or recently did you guys become new dads?
I have a 2-year-old. Austin has a 6-month-old, and then I also have a 3-month-old. So we got a lot of babies in the mix. 3 babies. Oh yeah.
Very nice. Well, congrats nonetheless. Yeah. And then I also hear you guys have, is it a new album coming out, Mirror? Is that coming out sometime early in 2025?
Yeah, it is. We've had all these songs like basically finished, and so we're like, hey, let's release it at this time. And then now it's like, well, maybe we want to change these things now that we've been sitting on them. So that is the plan, and it has to come out before the tour starts. So for April 2025. We don't know the exact.
Okay. Yeah. Exciting. And you guys are also coming to Berlin. When is your show in Berlin again?
It is April 17th.
April 17th.
Playing Badehaus. I don't know.
Badehaus. I should know how to say that. I've been to that venue. By the way, it's a really cool venue.
Is it cool?
It's a sick venue.
I've never left the country, so I have no idea what anything.
Really?
Me and Austin.
You guys are in for a treat when you're here in Berlin. Yeah. But it's a really cool venue. They've definitely had some really cool artists come through. So excited to see you guys there. So I've been listening to Daylight a lot. I think I have Hillside and Daylight on like repeat. One thing I noticed from Daylight compared to like your the self-titled album that you came out with, is that this one is less melancholy. It seems like it's a bit more groovy. There's a bit more of like, you want to get out there and dance. Is there a reason that there was a shift from, kind of like the more melancholy to this more upbeat, happy, joyful single?
Yeah, absolutely. Me and Austin, we feel a little more mature these days. I think when we were writing that self-titled album, it was like before and during COVID, and it was kind of like a weird time where we were like feeling edgy, like, oh, the world doesn't give me, it's so sad. And now we're at this new phase where it's like, I just want good vibes only these days, really. I was so tired of the sad, depressing COVID era where everything was just so depressing and sad. And we really wanted to make an effort. Like, this new album's gonna have good energy, and every song's gonna be fun to see live. And we want something that people can come together and forget their problems to and dance. And that's sort of the vibe with this album. And definitely both becoming fathers. It's just something where it's like, we want our future to look bright, and we want to try and inject what positivity we have kind of into this album. So that's kind of the changes over time, I guess. A little less moody, early 20s, a little more I'm just going with it.
Yeah. So in Daylight, I have a question about one of the lyrics. Maybe you can explain it to me. I think it's like the hook or the chorus, whatever you want to call it. It starts off where it's like, I know, but at least I'm trying. Half the time you think I'm lying. Promise myself that I can't keep hiding. How can I tell that it's you who's hiding? I had so many interpretations of these lyrics. So like, I'm not really sure if I got it right, but I know that I always come back to these lyrics. Like, they're just constantly playing in my head. And I was like, is this someone that maybe is like projecting onto somebody else, like their negativity, but this person is like still trying. They're trying to be positive and work on themselves and put in the work? Or like, maybe you can explain kind of a bit more behind those lyrics.
I've been married 6 years now, and Austin's been married, I don't know, something. Austin's the singer, by the way. I just produce the music. But definitely the sort of interactions you have in a marriage setting versus when you're just dating someone or you've been together a few months, you kind of get into cycles a lot where you revisit current theme or themes that have like resurfaced again and again. And so it's like, I know I'm trying, I'm working on this. I know you think I'm lying, but it's like, I don't know. It's kind of confusing, and it's about, things resurfacing and coming back into play. A lot of times when we're writing lyrics, it's like subconscious what we write down. we don't really like think like, oh, I want to write a song about this. It's like we make all the music first and then we add lyrics to it. And when we're writing those lyrics, it's just like subconscious thought. So like sometimes we'll write things and it's like, oh yeah, this is very specific to like a random experience I had like 2 weeks ago, but it also, I'm still not sure what it means. It's like it's a little abstract in that way. We can't have you knowing exactly what we're meaning, or else you lose interest in the song over time. But when there's a little bit of strangeness and peculiarity to, I think it kind of helps evolve with your life or as you change.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have a favorite song from Daylight? Do you have a favorite song, or maybe there's like a favorite lyric that you have from Daylight, the single?
Single favorite lyric, as for me, as the producer kind of part, I'm very into synths. I love synthesizers. And Austin let me go crazy with synthesizers on the song. Usually he's like, no, bro, we need more guitar in this. But so for Daylight specifically, the bridge when there's no lyrics and it's just like a dark wave synth breakdown, that's my favorite part of the song. And one of my favorite parts on the whole album actually is just when I gotta make cool synth sounds that speak for themselves. So I would say that's my favorite part of the song.
Yeah, they're pretty melty. It's really nice. It's really nice. Diving into your second single that you guys released, I think it's called Out the Door. Every time I listen to this, I don't know what it is about those two songs, but it feels so nostalgic. I feel like I'm back in the 90s, like outside playing with my friends before the porch lights come on. I don't know what it is, but it's just something so wholesome about those two songs. What kind of emotions or feelings were you trying to convey with the two songs from the single Out the Door?
Yeah, Out the Door is definitely a reflection of past friendships. So I think for that song specifically, the lyrics are kind of just about you grow up with someone and your relationship is based on a bunch of common interests you have, whether it's, like for me growing up, I just loved skateboarding. And so I feel like I had all these relationships based on skateboarding. And then as I become an adult, I'll look at some of those friends that I used to go skate with. And one of them posted this thing that was like, did I ever really like skateboarding, or was I just doing it to be cool? And then you start to think like, wow, did we just never really have a real relationship if they didn't like this thing that we liked together? So it's kind of like when a friend gives up on something that kind of founded your friendship, it's like there is something there and you don't know why. So it's like, I know we were friends, but if you really felt this way, like,
would we still be friends?
Were we friends? Yeah, it's kind of just an exploration on old friendships. And then the second single on that, Smith and Wesson, Austin actually found an eye dog. You know what an eye dog is?
Like a saying eye dog?
It's like I don't even know if it's a true Apple product, but it's like a robot dog you plug your iPod into, and it like bops its head with the music.
Those are super old school, no? Or is that recent?
Early 2000s.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Austin found one in his closet from his childhood. And it was like, oh, this is actually, just thinking of it as a real dog, this is kind of sad. Like a Toy Story, for example. You have this little friend you made and then you throw it in the closet for years. And we wrote the song about that, our relationship with Austin's eye dog. So
really, that's
definitely nostalgic, and once again a reflection on old friendships.
Was the dog's name Weston?
Yeah.
So where does the Smith part come from?
It's just like, well, the other part of that is Smith and Wesson is a gun brand, and so it's kind of like killing off an old relationship. So that's kind of the play there. A typical name, I
googled Smith and Weston, and what came up was a gun company, and I was like, no, surely this isn't it. I was like, maybe it is.
Yeah, it's kind of a relationship to killing off an old relationship, but that the name came months after the song was done, and we didn't know what to call it.
Very cool.
We do that a lot.
So maybe you can talk me through like the creative process, maybe the creative process for the singles, but also the creative process going into this new album that you have that's coming out soon.
Yeah, it was very actively thought when we were making this album. Like I said earlier, we want this album to be less whiny, more just like in the moment, more reflective of what our life actually might be like. And so we found ourselves thinking like 80s new wave is kind of the perfect genre for this, because it's so weird and like kind of quirky, and it's not really done too much. So we really were into Talking Heads when the album was scoped out. Like, what do we want to do with this? It doesn't sound Talking Heads at all now, but that was like our North Star, and we've like deviated off a bit. That's our thought with anything. It's like, oh, I love this song, we should try and make a song like this. And then we try, and it sounds nothing like that song, but it sounds just like us. It sounds like us no matter what we're trying to accomplish. So even though like we wanted an 80s new wave album, some parts are there and sometimes it gets into that territory, but it kind of weaves in and out of that.
I was actually going to ask what were some of like your artist inspirations, but you said Talking Heads was one. Were there any other like artist inspirations that maybe you guys pulled from?
Another thing was Smith and Wesson. That one was one we're like, we should write a Smiths song, a song that sounds like the Smiths. And so I think that was like the demo name in it. Does this sound like it? And then we finish it and it doesn't really sound anything like the Smiths. Yeah, the Smiths, New Order has been a very, like, that's a big influence for something like Daylight.
Yeah.
But then like Hillside is like, we want like a 2010 indie pop anthem, like Empire of the Sun, Foster the People. So that's kind of the range. It's like 2010 indie to 80s new waves, somewhere in the middle of there. So yeah, a lot of artists along the way, I suppose.
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah, and I definitely am a bigger fan of 2010 indie than 2020. So I'm trying to bring it back. Probably won't work.
I definitely think it's taking a turn. Like, I don't know, my playlist that I currently listen to is a lot of new wave, but I mean, I also love things like the Smiths and New Order as well. But I do think that old school indie is kind of making a return, which I'm so happy. It just sounds better to me, and there's more emotion that comes through, and I don't know, it just feels more authentic. So I'm all for the revival of 2010 alternative.
We'll see if we can make it happen more.
I was curious. So like, when did you guys link up to become a band, or like, how did this happen?
We met on the first day of college, and I was with my friend Justin, and he just said, "Hey man, I like your outfit." And then the first day of college, you're like, I don't know, kind of a goon at that time.
Yeah.
We're going up the mountain to have a go-gurt party or something. Danimals, maybe, one of the two.
Yeah.
Want to come? And Austin joined in, and that's where I met Austin. And then he brought a guitar up. I was like, "Oh, you play guitar?" I was in the band that turned into Indigo Waves at that point. So me and Austin kind of like were the last members to join this band, and then over time we hijacked it, and it became our project, even though neither of us started it. There used to be 5 months. Now it's just the last 2.
The last man standing. That's really cool though. But where did you guys actually come up with the name Indigo Waves? Like, where does that come from?
Austin lives on a lake. We had different names like Redwood Drive. It's just terrible names. Nothing's worse than picking a band name, I gotta say. Yeah. Like it's band names are just fairly cringy in any, like, if someone calls me by my band name, I become so bashful because it feels so silly to have like an alternate persona or something. But yeah, Indigo Waves was just like, no, this sounds good. I don't know. There's not much to it besides that. I really kind of hated the name for a few years, but it's coming full circle, and I'm really liking that it's nothing too insane, and it's nothing too era focused. Like in 2020, like every band name had dad or sport in it. Do you feel that way?
Yeah.
It's like so many bands came up with these very 2020 names. And I'm glad I feel like the name's fairly timeless in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So did any songs take an unexpected turn?
We have one song on the album called I'll Be Waiting Up for You. And it was kind of this big full production with drums and synths and electric guitar and acoustic guitar. And one day we just stripped it all back to just one synth, one guitar, and the vocals.
Nice.
And it made it so much better. Like every part of the song just came through to the actual meaning we wanted to bring across. So I guess that one was a big change. Daylight, actually, we'd been working on for like 3 years.
Wow.
And when we started it, it was way slower, and it was like just had a bad energy where it felt depressing kind of, and it dragged on, and it was still cool. We were like, this is cool, but it's not the energy I want. So that one, we were like, how do we make this like bop a little bit, you know? How do we get this one into the club? And that one took a lot of time, and it ended up just being switching out the vocals and making it faster. So
well, it worked.
You just have to like write a song, dwell on it, reconstruct it, and then come back. And actually, the reason we did that is I have a work computer and my production computer, and I wanted to clear my work computer because it got full. But because it's connected to my production computer with iCloud, I deleted our entire album, all the projects. And so that was terrible, and Austin hated me for it. But it's been really good because like the second time around, we already recorded them. Now we're going back and re-recording them, and it's like, let's try something here. And it's been really good for us, even though it's extended the time it's taken to write this album. But it also is like we had 200 demos on that computer of potential songs because we love just writing like an 8-bar loop and then oh, that was cool, all right, see you later, never finishing them. And it made us like, oh, I don't have to think about or feel guilty that I'm not working on all these little things. We can just focus on the ones we actually care about and finish writing those. So it actually turned out to be a good thing, but at the time it was really awful.
Yeah, I can imagine. Last, I guess, question is, do you have maybe any, let's say, final words for your fans or listeners?
I would just say, if you listen to us, that is so cool. Thank you. This is just something we were doing for fun in college, and the last year, it's just finally got an audience randomly. The year that we became fathers, and I started a business. Me and Austin live 4 hours away now, and I'm super busy. So it's this weird thing where like throughout college, we're super focused on the band, and then it's kind of like, yeah, that was fun. We'll do it on the side, but we got more important things now. That's when everything took off. And so it's really cool. And I don't think without that, we'd be able to put as much thought into it just with the responsibilities of being a dad or whatnot. So thank you for listening. You're making it worth it for us to keep creating. And we're really excited to keep creating because it's what we love doing, but we just needed that opportunity. So thanks if you've listened.
Very cool.
I don't know